Ooh, what's good, my fellow stock market freaks? It's your boy Kevin. Welcome back to the channel. EV stocks are about to explode. They've been beaten up. They've been battered. They have crashed. Over the last several months, it hasn't been pretty for these EV stocks, but it's all about to change. These EV stocks are about to have a wave of momentum come into them, and they're going to pop. In today's video, we're going to be talking about why this is going to happen and what stocks I'm looking to buy to make some money from before the wave happens. If you're new around here, consider hitting that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and everybody just start clicking all the buttons. All right, let's break it down. To understand why this is going to happen, we really need to look at this, take a step back, and look at the conflict that's going on in Ukraine right now. The Russian invasion of Ukraine is going to directly impact EV stocks, and I believe it will cause them to explode. All right, so first, we need to take a step back and look at this from a distance. Rewind about a year and a half. When Joe Biden took office, when the new administration came in, the United States was a net exporter of oil. We had more oil than we used, so we exported some of it. Right now, after he canceled the XL pipeline, he made it illegal to drill for oil on federal land. The United States became a net importer of oil. We became dependent on countries like Saudi Arabia and Russia. All these countries that have oil are bad actors on the world stage. So when you become dependent on these countries, when you become a net importer of oil, you empower these countries. They have power over you because they know you need what they have. So that is what happened in this situation. If the United States was able to export some oil to the EU, Germany, all these European countries were getting some of their oil from the United States, maybe, just maybe, Russia and Putin would not have been able to do what they're doing right now because they wouldn't have the footing to do so. They wouldn't have been as confident in their ability to do this without getting serious sanctions, and that is something to think about. Here's where this comes into play. So we need Russia's oil. We absolutely need Russia's oil. Europe needs Russia's oil as we are today because Joe Biden and this Biden administration is not going to rewind. They're not going to go back to the XL pipeline and say, okay, we made a mistake. We're going to reinstate the XL pipeline. We're going to reinstate the ability to drill for oil on federal land. Because if they do that, it's not a good look for the extreme left, the Green New Deal side of the Democrat Party. It's just not going to happen. So until a new administration comes into play that is more oil friendly, we are just going to be dependent on countries like Russia and Saudi Arabia for oil and gas. Why is this important for EV stocks? You may be asking. Well, if you go to the pump and you're paying $6, $7 per gallon, I'm not saying it's going to go that high, but it is going to increase. You are going to be way more likely to purchase an EV vehicle than you were if gas is at $2 per gallon. All right? Think about these trucking fleets. If you have 1,000 trucks and diesel is $7 a gallon, you're not going to want to go re-up your fleet with more diesel trucks. You're probably going to look at some clean energy solutions. Also, you may be thinking, well, Kevin, they haven't sanctioned Russia yet with any oil sanctions, but it is going to happen. I'm telling you, Russia will be kicked off the SWIFT banking system. What is the SWIFT banking system? The SWIFT banking system is basically Venmo or Cash App for Russia's oil supply. If you need oil, you got to pay Russia for the oil. You're probably going to be using the SWIFT banking system. It's a messaging system that's encrypted. It's the way Russia gets paid for their oil. So if they get kicked off this SWIFT banking system, it is a huge blow to Russia, and it will cause gas prices in Europe and probably the United States to absolutely skyrocket. There's also been a call from the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson calls for an end to Russian involvement in SWIFT. So these EU leaders who were initially opposed to kicking Russia off SWIFT are now leaning in that direction, as the media, the image of this whole thing is really bad, right? People are, it's ugly. It's an ugly situation, and I do believe the media pressure will cause these EU countries, even Germany, who is entirely dependent on Russia's oil supply, to kick Russia off of the SWIFT banking system. There's even been a call for an embargo on Russia's oil supply. Just stop purchasing oil from Russia altogether. Now, that is a big call. That is a big ask, right? I don't think that happens. But if it does, then oil prices are going to go even higher. You're talking about really $6, $7 per gallon at the gas pumps. If this does indeed happen, I do believe that they will get kicked off SWIFT. I'm not sure there will be an entire embargo of Russia's oil supply. But whatever the case is, this does have an impact on EV stocks, and I do think it gives them a boost. All right, so what EV stocks am I looking to buy right now? Well, on Friday, I added to my HYLN position. You guys know I love me some HYLN. It's trading at $4.20 right now. I don't think you can beat that price. $4.20. If oil prices go through the roof, these trucking fleets are going to be looking for a cheaper alternative, and HYLN will offer that alternative. Trading very, very cheap. I think this thing has $15 price point written on it by the end of the year. Trucking fleets are going to be hit harder than anyone, hit harder than your average person, because they're doing it for a living. They're going to be looking for an alternative. We just saw the video of the Hypertruck ERX release, and it is looking sleek. It's looking like it does have utility, like it's legit. It's just not a pipe dream, and it's coming to fruition. I'm looking to add to my HYLN position and ride this thing to up to $15 per share. How about Tesla, baby? How about Tesla? The leader of the wolf pack, Tesla. If the EV market does get a boost, obviously Tesla probably will too. Now, Tesla, I don't think has any more 100% runs left in the tank, as it has already seen those moves. But if you want to go to the options chain and buy some call options a little bit out of the money, maybe at the money call options, I think that's a really good idea. Maybe a couple of months out, I think this thing sees test $1,000 per share in the next couple of months. And I know you're thinking, Kevin, you just put out a video 2 days ago saying that you're going to be buying put options on the overall market. And yes, I still believe the overall market is going to correct. It's going to have a drop. But that doesn't mean there can't be a disconnect between EV stocks and the overall market, right? If oil prices skyrocket, EV companies start putting out better sales, better revenue numbers, better sales than expected, then yeah, EV stocks can pop while the rest of the market drops. How about Lucid? Lucid Motors, I am not a long-term Lucid bull. I don't like Lucid, but I'm willing to trade it. I'm willing to trade it because I do think the overall EV sector sees a pop. So let's take a look at the chart, and I'll tell you guys my plan here with Lucid. All right, so right now we're trading here at 26. I don't hate that buy zone right there, 26. You have a stop loss under this low, and you look for this thing to break back out, break over 30, maybe test $35 per share. Once again, not a long-term bull of Lucid Motors, but I do think it has a nice short-term trade setup here. Price target of $35. That is a nice little $10 per share jump. Same thing goes with RIVN. Not a long-term RIVN fan, but I do think it's setting up for a trade. Look at this chart. We've came off the highs of 180, and now we're down here at $63 per share. We got a little flag forming. We've kind of based out. You have that risk down there at $50, and you look for this thing to kind of, boom, do one of these, and I'm looking for $85 per share here on RIVN. Now, once again, that's just a trade for me. You could buy the underlying stock or go into the options chain, buy some call options, maybe a month, 2 months out at the money, and look for that pop that we're talking about. This will not affect the Chinese auto manufacturers. Why? Because China is not going to sanction Russia. They're homies. They're like that, right? So they're still going to be importing oil from Russia, maybe even more at a discounted price point. So NIO, Xpeng. I do not necessarily believe that NIO and Xpeng receive the pop that companies like Lucid, RIVN, Tesla, and HYLN get from this situation. So I'm not going to be looking at those Chinese EV stocks right now as hard as I am the American and the European EV stocks. All right, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you got something of value from it. As oil prices skyrocket, common consumers and truckers are going to be looking at these EV companies. Catch you guys in the next video. Until next time, deuces.